Welcome everyone to the core communication call. Grateful to have you all here. This is an experimental Zoom call and my first group Zoom call. And yeah, I feel very blessed to just be here and come into the space and you all to join me. And I'm just going to invite you to gently close down your eyes or come into a soft gaze. And we'll just take a few deep breaths and really come into the space. So just breathing in, dropping into our hearts, breathing out, really coming present with the space, breathing a few more times, opening up to what is here for you, for your highest good. To be inspired by, to inspire others with, and to receive everything that is for your highest good and leave the rest. And I invite you to open your eyes when you feel ready. And I'm going to do something else I've never done, which is get really structured and shared my screen. Look at that. And I'm going to slideshow. Can everybody see that? No? Yes? No?
We sure can.
Okay. I can only see 4 years at a time, but okay. So why are you here? Because we know it's important to be importance of clear, heartfelt communication, deep and meaningful relationships, living in harmony and equality. And how much lighter do we feel when we're releasing anything that no longer serves us? So, you know, what we hold within our field. And we can move beyond conflict with others and within ourselves. Because often we have, you know, unconscious things, programming and patterns playing out. And when we don't do those important conversations and have this awareness, you know, we can carry that heaviness with us. It may hold ourselves back or even hide it. We even hide away. And we don't honor our true expression, you know, because we've all come into this world as, you know, that special one, that one with hypersensitive gifts and different from everyone else, and we're often shut down quite early. And you know, that's just how life is, and I feel everyone here knows how that flows, even though we all have our own unique expression and experience. And of course, this can filter into other relationships and affect our expression. And so, as I go through these topics, there'll probably be some crossovers, and yeah, I'll say some things because they do flow into each other, maybe more than once. So we're going to just talk into having that difficult conversation, understanding what's really being said, recognizing which aspect of yourself is speaking, seeing the mirror, healthy boundaries, sacred circle at the supermarket, building deep and meaningful relationships. And then we'll go into a short guided meditation and we'll just see where we're at. We can talk a little bit about why I call this core coaching. There will be a space for questions. So, yeah, I can't see all ears while I'm on shared screen, but you can put your hand up or, and if I don't notice it, maybe unmute yourself and just say, I have a question. And the intention is this will go for about an hour. And I'm happy to stay on afterwards if people want to hang around and can hang around to ask more questions or share insights. So having that difficult conversation, generally it is with our mum or dad, because that's the first relationship we have. But it could be a sibling, it could be a close friend, a partner, you know. Um, but often, I find there is that kind of real one or some things that you really want to say to a certain person that isn't always easy. So how do we create more ease? So it's about what it is you want to say and why. So being really clear with that. So really finding, yeah, truly what it is you want to express. And once you can get clear with that, just ask yourself why, why is it important for me to say this and what could it bring into my life? And a good way of finding those out is to practice having the conversation. So you could do that with a loved one, you could do it writing down, saying it out loud, even to yourself, just hearing yourself say it, feeling it, repeat and refine. And also just speaking with your inner child, reassuring your inner child that you're there, you know, tell it that person has no power over you when you come into that conversation, that you are safe and held because you are there for it, and really start to feel into what it is like to have that conversation. I mean, there's a lot of other energetics that, we're not going to really touch on here, but I feel all these things can still bring a lot. So having that intention and visualizing how you want it to go, feel the ideal outcome, feel into that person that you're talking with, yourself, and see it because, yeah, we can get into forecasting, and having an idea of what we think it will go like, oh, if I say this, they're going to say that, and it's going to be this way, and I'll feel this, and those kind of things. So if we just really get into a nice space and create a vision and a feeling around how we feel it best serves us, so we can be heard, so we can voice naturally and with ease. And then also because I've done this with certain situations and yeah, I put energy around holding that space within myself on how I wanted it to go and being received and being heard. And it went really well. Um, one of them was with a boss. It was at the start of my journey that we had a conflict with, and I knew, I would get blamed for it, even though he was rude beforehand. And I really put a lot of energy onto how I knew it would go. And then I did this, and he was really honest the next time we had the conversation and came through with what truly he avoided saying the first time. And also with my parents, when I changed my name, because I was named after my mother's father, and I knew it would be hard for her, but I just put really good energy into they will receive it, and they did. But what I didn't think about was what came afterwards. So after some time, they reflected and then came back, and Mum was upset, and understandably so. So I feel it's also good to also think about what comes next and put good energy into that and good intention and know that it still will be received and they can voice whatever they need to from their place. So being in a good space beforehand is really important. Speaking from the heart, listen with the heart. Like I said, do your best to not forecast or be attached to their response as well. I think that's really important. Because when we are in a good space within ourselves, we're not so caught up in how it will go, because we're just honoring ourselves, and that's what we're really here for, is to just be true to ourselves. And yeah, doing the classics. Remember to breathe and stay present, drop into our heart, honor those emotions if they're there, but just keep bringing yourself back to your center, back to yourself. And I think, no matter where we are on our journey, if we just take a moment and stop okay, where am I? Breathe, pull and step into my heart, drop down into my heart, into my body, call myself back and breathe out. It just shifts so much, and it's such an easy thing to do. And I don't feel, no matter how far we've been journeying in these conscious ways, I feel that that's a stable, it's always there. And I feel it goes really well with this. And yeah, when we want to go deeper, we can get into the energetics, and feeling our body and what emotion lies there, and where it lies, and go into those. So the next one is understanding what's really been said. So I find, unless you're a really expressive person, which you'll still have it, but it's not as easy to see. But emphasizing a word or words, it's for me, it's like pointing it out. So the whole classic thing of, we're really pointing to it, we're making a point of it, and the whole classic with the hand gesture, when we're pointing at something, we have three fingers pointing back at ourselves. So I feel it's always showing there is something there, and we can point something out. So, like an example, say I'm with my partner, and she cuts cheese in a really unique way. And I say to her, "Oh, you really like cutting cheese that way." I'm not really saying you really like cutting cheese that way when I'm emphasizing the like. I've got a problem with it. I'm really saying I don't like it. And then what is that? What is that issue I have? What is it showing me? Is it um, they're actually honoring their self-expression, and I have difficulty honoring mine, so it's triggering me? Or is it something around control? Or do I feel they do it on purpose because they know in some way it annoys me? So there's many things you can go down with that. But I just feel that noticing how we emphasize a word, and say a word often, for me, I had a journey with um, noticing people weren't being authentic. And it took me a while to actually sit back and go in and check where I wasn't being authentic. They were just showing me, and that's the classic mirror as well, which we'll talk about further on. So I just feel exploring those things, and why we are emphasizing a certain word, or often speaking in a certain thing, a way, or a sentence, or expressing something that we feel, yeah, we want to voice. And we may think we're voicing it with someone else or to someone else, but just explore what it is for us that it's really showing. And yeah, also then, is it true for you? Is it your expression when you're saying something? I feel, the patternings we can pick up with the people we're around. And we may not say word for word what they say, but energetically we could be saying something similar, and not being aware. And that could filter into many things. And what I really found, for me on my journey, I had a classic one with when people were sneezing and you say bless you. And I just stopped saying bless you. I naturally stopped saying. I didn't even know that I'd stopped saying it until I saw the reaction or response to people when I didn't say it, when they sneezed. And some people said, "Hey, you didn't say bless you." And I'm like, "Oh, no, okay, yeah." And I didn't really feel to say it. So I asked the question, why don't I say bless you? And then I thought, actually, why do we say bless you? And went into, okay, well, at a certain time of life, it suited people and helped them. If you could go into like the Black Plague, and they believed that when someone sneezed, the devil entered their body, and saying bless you stopped that from happening. That could be 100% true, but is it valid today? So I didn't feel like that resonated with me. And maybe I felt I was bringing that energy back into this now moment by going into it. So I didn't say it, and I just stayed open. And then when someone said to me, "Oh, you don't say bless you," I would explain to them why I didn't feel to. And then often I got, "Oh, it's a kindness. I feel it's kind." And that can be very true. So I asked myself, do I feel it's a kindness? Or has someone actually told me that it's a kindness, and I believe that is true? And I love the word bless. I use bless all the time. I absolutely love it. in this context, I don't say bless you because I just don't feel there's anything there for me to say. And for me, that was just exploring that, and it opened me up to more patternings and beliefs and things that I brought as true that weren't actually mine in my field. So, it's just something to play with, and explore. Um, then a classic one, like there's many words, like uh, a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, understand came along with understand. And when that came along, and I was like, understand, oh, I love that. Feels awesome, and empowering. So, and yeah, I don't want to stand under anybody or anything. So yeah, I'm going to say understand. And so I jumped ship, let's say, and I used understand for a long time. Um, and now I find I use it sometimes. And for most part, I use understand because I guess my relationship changed with it. I feel it still has a place and I don't get caught into, oh, I'm standing under something, that doesn't rave true for me. So I feel things come and go as well. So not to get too attached to things, like hold on, because I find on my journey, at some point it was enlightenment and it was everyone talking about enlightenment and then authenticity and then ascension and, ascension became descension. And so it's just seeing where we are at with that and if it resonates and that's it. Don't add on anything. So just I think it's again being playful and just exploring what is the relationship, the relationship with it, and what is the intention you have when you're speaking. I feel our intention is potent and yeah, it can be more potent than actually the word itself. Um, yeah, I think I covered all that. Oh, and should. Should is a real classic condemning word in a lot of contexts. Should, shouldn't, should have. But that the old saying, don't shit on yourself. You change that to don't shit on yourself. It really resonates with me. However, I do find in certain contents the word should fits. Feels light, feels okay. And I think, that's something to explore as well. It's not like just shut it out totally. Like I'm never saying that word should. It's just like be open and explore it, see how it feels. Recognizing which aspect of yourself is speaking. So who's really talking, the hurt self or the true self? So how can we recognize which is which? So for me, it's just like, how am I feeling in my body? What is my body language? Do I want to be here if I'm talking with someone and am I feeling contracted, reserved, my eyes like scattered and all that, and that would tell me I'm not in alignment. If I felt really comfortable in how I'm expressing, I would just stand strong, and I would just present that with ease. And again, it wouldn't be looking for anything in return. It's just that I'm just being true to myself and I'm know that what I'm saying is conscious and I'm aware of it and I'm comfortable. So and I know with myself, I can jump quite easily. I can be saying something really conscious and going along, and then something can just jump in, and I think, oh, yeah, it's still that same thing. And I'm like, oh, hang on, I've noticed my tone might have changed a little bit, or I'm starting to look for something. Yeah, some people who are really good friends have called me out with that, and I'm really grateful for that because I always, yeah, if I don't see something, I'd love to know. And actually, I had a partner where I said let's explore these things, and she was a bit reserved about it, but we eventually felt to. And she told me, she said, you say and that often. She said, you just say and that, and sometimes at the end of sentence or by itself. I said, "Oh, do I?" And okay, so when I said it, we decided that she would say bananas. So we'd just be hanging out at the day and she'd go bananas, and I go, oh, okay, have I said and that? And I couldn't catch it like for about a week or more. And then one day I heard it and that. I was like, oh, wow, okay, I've said it. And then I started to catch it again and again and more and more. And then I could feel into what was happening for me when I was saying and that. And she felt that it was when I didn't agree with what she was saying. For me, once I felt into it, is when she was in a place where she wasn't managing herself and she started projecting, for me to not take it on, I would say, and that, which basically put my hand out and flicked it away from penetrating my field. So it was like a safety thing, like a coping mechanism that my being just created, and I had no idea. So that's quite different from what I'm talking about. But, I just still feel it's a beautiful thing to see how we use words in certain ways that support us or not support us. And not to be too attached to a word or expression. So yeah, that's what I talked about, how there's phases, things come and go, ways of expressing. Yeah, like the dictionary, the definition of the dictionary had changed, in 1946, the monks changed them. So we have ideas of what the words mean, but I think we also don't. So again, it's the energy behind it, our intent, and where is it coming from, and is it pure intention or is it looking for something, rather than the actual meaning of it. I feel that's also supportive, even though of course, you have to say things that people know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit difficult. What's my next screen? So maybe I'll just stop sharing for a moment. And does anyone have any questions or anything they want to share? No? Okay, I'll carry on. It could be a very good thing or something else. Um, okay, so seeing the mirror. So having an awareness, for me, I just see how people come here to role play for us, to show us what's in our field. And it's not that I'm condoning what they're doing or naive to what they're doing and saying it's okay. It's just that I feel, yeah, they're assisting us to see what part of our growth is there for us. So, an example I can give is when I was younger, I asked questions from a very young age. I didn't get what I was being told. And through that, I got told that I was argumentative and I didn't give a shit about anyone but myself. And that was really drummed a lot. And my parents are loving, not, it's just, how they received it and they said that. And so that filtered out into my life and I had trauma around that and things followed on that. In a session not so many years ago, it came up that I had some karma around in the North Island, New Zealand. And when it was getting colonized, I came to New Zealand. So I was in England and I was educated, and but I was an alcoholic and a gambler. And my family kind of kicked me out of their family. And at the same time, I came to New Zealand. And so, because I was educated, I was hired to help colonization happening in New Zealand. But because I was a gambler and an alcoholic, I didn't give a shit about anyone but myself, And so I kind of used those situations to make sure I got what I needed. And I said to my friend, oh, it's interesting because it feels like I've come in with some of that learning still. I haven't learnt that lesson in that life. So for me, my parents saying that, it also has these things of this life, but it's also showing me I needed to hear that, to have that experience, to find out what I've come into this life with and move through that as part of my evolution. So that's part of what I'm saying about role playing. They assist us and sometimes it's not easy and doesn't look great. So it just takes courage and yeah, stepping into that and having that awareness. Because especially when we're young, we're definitely not going to have that awareness so much as we have someone around us. Um, yeah, are we blaming and shaming, like finger pointing, rather than seeing the mirror? So be thankful for what they're showing a bit us about ourselves. And that also, does take courage as well, and just feeling in and yeah, just finding a place where we can go into those mirror aspects. I just think that life is a direct mirror of ourselves, and it's just showing us all the time, supporting us. The universe doesn't see things so much in the right and wrong. It's just here to support us. So when we're putting our energy out for, say, let's say, driving into town and I never get a car park, then yeah, you won't get a car park, and it's the same in relationships, I'm very good at being in gratitude for my car park before I drive into town. And I think, and I always get a car park, even in difficult places. And I think, why can't I bring in that into all my other aspects of life? In that area, I find it really easy in certain areas. And I guess that's, we've mastered some things and other things we're still growing into. I also believe, in both these bottom twos are invitations, to find out for yourself if it resonates. But I feel everything is happening that's happening in our life is created by myself for myself. Absolutely, 100%. Um, and yeah, I put in there control versus control. So another classic one is say you have two people and one's really good and organized and gets ready. You're going out for a dinner or something, you're living together, and one's super organized and efficient, and the other one takes ages and fumbles around. And the person who's really efficient often looks like, they're like, come on, let's go, I'm ready, and they could have an aspect of control. But also the other person, if they're going slow and like, oh, I need my time, it could be an aspect of control as well. I mean, it could be just how they are. But if we look at it in the areas of, let's say, one of their patterns or learnings, they're both wanting to control. They're wanting to move how they want to and don't want the other to fit in or flow with them. So in that aspect, control looks very different. And I think that's important as well. Like it's the energetics and it can play out in a way that we don't think it or it doesn't look like or how we used to how we would see control. It can be very different. Um, and of course there can be a lot of other things where control's not happening as well within that relationship. It can be just that's, they're just fine with honoring each other. But if it's got emotions and, push pull kind of stuff, and I want you to hurry up and or you just need to wait and all that, and it's um, got some energetics behind it, then you can look at that issue around control. And yeah, healthy boundaries. So, a lot of things can happen on the way where we just kind of have enough and we don't want that in our field, or be around that kind of environment or a person in that certain way, and that's totally fine. I feel for it to be a healthy boundary, you have to come into your authoritative self to set that boundary. If we're in a place where we're not standing in our power and center point and setting that healthy boundary, we're coming more from a place of condemning or judgment or, saying that's not okay, but while still being a victim. It's not really a healthy boundary. It's just denying ourselves from seeing something that's there for us. And when we are able to be in that authoritative self place and say no, you can also go in and just see, is there something still here for me? Even though I've taken this person or this situation out of my life, is there still something there for me to learn from? And maybe if there is, you don't actually have to still have that experience. You can work through it in a different way without having the experience. And again, that's for me, that's more conscious way of having a boundary rather than kind of spiritual bypassing or denying yourself of something that's here for our own growth. So looking deeper and seeing if there's any patterns or learnings or growth within that situation when you're saying, okay, I don't want this in my environment anymore within my life. Um, and then you'll see that how that feeds your own personal power, because I feel if you just remove them, someone else is going to show up or something else is going to show up and it's still going to be around. And it may not look exactly the same, but the energetics will be there and you're just going to deplete yourself by, not honoring that. So, being that authority self and standing in your power is absolutely imperative and important. Okay, sacred circle at the supermarket. Sounds awesome. So what I find is when we come into sacred circle, we get into this space and we feel really good, and we honor each other and we see each other. And within the conscious realms or circles or communities, we have a lot of knowing around, people have their path, they have their trauma, they have their story, they're on their journey. Um, they have their patternings. We have our what is it? Coping mechanisms. You know, do we bring all that to the outer world? Do we see the people we meet at the supermarket, at the garage in that same way? And if we don't, why do we not? Why do we not bring that true sacredness in our heart energy and meet people as a equal? We know that everyone's from the same source. We know everyone's on their journey. It doesn't matter if they're not conscious at all, if they're not flashing out or acting in a terrible way, they're just a person at a job. Why don't we meet them there? Is it something for us that we feel, we've already again forecast, this person, I don't know them, they're just living their life. We won't have anything in common. There's no point engaging, or is there something, what is going on? Or we just don't have the energy. If we don't have the energy, that's fine. If we feel we need to take care of ourselves. I mean, a while ago, I went to a garage and I was looking for a part for my car. I can't remember what it was. And I kind of didn't feel the garage would have it, but I went there anyway. And I went up to the counter and the guy served me and I got some fuel. And he was very vague, like he couldn't even see my card in front of his eyes. And I asked him about it, and he said, "Oh, I don't really know. Maybe you could try the other garage." And then there was another lady working, and she looked efficient, and she kind of heard the conversation. She said, "Oh, there's a place just across the road, that has parts. They'll probably have it there." And I could have gone into so much stuff around this guy, like I could have really got caught into, oh, he's just not there, he's hopeless, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't feel to. And I just stayed in my heart and then I just engaged with them. And I can't really remember the first conversation. But within 2 or 3, 4 sentences, we were talking about sacred geometry and pyramids. And what I worked out is as we talked more, he also felt that most of the people that came into the garage, they wouldn't want to talk about those things. So he didn't feel to engage with anybody. So he wasn't interested in engaging with me. I was just another person in a car getting fuel, probably like cars, da da da. So it was so fascinating, and just the other day I met this guy and we got talking. He was an atheist and we had a beautiful chat, like absolute heart to heart. And it just, aligned with this coming up. And I just thought, yeah, how often do I not actually meet someone as an equal, and why do we need to, if we really truly believe in what we create in a sacred circle, why do we not bring that out to the world more often? Because honestly, when you walk away from that, not only do you feel amazing, but you help someone else feel amazing. And isn't that what we're here for? You know? Aren't we an invitation? We're the conscious ones. Um, so yeah, I just feel that's really important. Um, so building a deep and meaningful relationship. So it's just, having more awareness about the things that we've talked about. Um, when we're not, noticing we're in a good space, just being kind with ourselves, just so not to get upset with ourselves or give ourselves a hard time. Seeing from the other's perspective, I feel super important, to just put ourselves in their shoes and see where they're coming from, just to be open. Um, what I found, like when I walked the Te Aroa Trail last year, I had a group that I keep getting um, to stay with, and they were a bit challenging for me, and it brought some stuff up, and I definitely there was some projections happening, um, and then I got caught in that as well, and the next morning I actually that day I got guided that I would be getting up about 3 in the morning to start walking, which I hadn't done, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So, and I did. I just woke up at 3 o'clock. I was wide awake. And I thought, okay, I packed my tent up and I went off, and I was reflecting on it. And what I came to is, if we don't engage, and you don't have to engage, but if we don't engage with someone, again, we don't know who they are, their story, their coping mechanisms, da da da. So what I found is, if I didn't see them in the place of equality, then I was projecting. It was that simple. I would just project my stuff if I didn't see them in that place. And not doing that gives the opportunity to have a deep and meaningful relationship with someone else. Um, and when I was reflecting on that, this butterfly came along and right in front of me, I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, cool. That's cool. um, yeah, also ask, what am I not seeing in this experience or situation that is for me? Sometimes we can see it doesn't look good, and there's something magical there, and I feel that's also brings into having a deeper relationship with ourselves, and of course we know, what we can be for ourselves, we can be for others. So when we go into those things, okay, what is here for me? I'm really honoring myself and what's happening for me, and I'm starting to connect deeper with myself and really get into the foundations of my being. And then I can bring that out to others and meet them from that place. Um, so yeah, I feel that's also important. And like I said, the classic foundations: stillness, heart connection, breath, present moment, just with ourselves. You know, we talk about practicing meditation and being in stillness. This doesn't take practice. It's there 24/7. It only takes a few seconds. Stop, breathe, drop into the heart, call yourself back. Where am I? Where bringing myself back into this? Be present, couple of breaths, okay, and then start again. And you can do that a trillion times a day, or whatever. It doesn't matter, wherever you are. And if you need a little bit more, you just go to a toilet or something. And then, yeah, also the light in me greets the light in you. The Christ in me greets the Christ in you. All that, if we're in that space, um, we're just going to be fed with really beautiful things. A while ago, I was at the beach, and I love being by myself, and I was coming back, and there was only two other people on the beach. There's only one track on and off the beach, and they started walking to the track. I was still quite a long way away towards the track the same time as I was, and immediately I was like, oh, I don't really want to talk to those people. I just want to be on the beach. And then I'm like, Jacob, what are you doing? Like, you know, this moment I'm walking there, and they happen to be walking there right at this moment. So just be open. And we got talking, and we had a nice conversation. And then the lady goes, oh, did you see the whale out in the ocean? And I was like, no. I'm like, yeah, there's a whale just out there. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. It was awesome. I was like, yay, thank you for myself to recognize that and give myself that opportunity, and thank them for offering that to me. So yeah, there's so many. I think we're just always getting all these gems. It's just a matter of catching them. Okay, so we're going to go into a guided meditation. Oh, I'll come out actually, just see if there's any questions or anything anyone wants to share. Okay. Right. Yep.
I can it really resonates with me, Jacob, your sharing about being open to conversing with people, you know. So I was going down to the Chooks the other day, and as I got to the gate, who should drive in but the Jehovah's Witnesses? And that's a classic for me to be going, oh, I haven't got time, or I don't want your message or whatever. And something just yeah, didn't go into that narrative with me that time, and I met them as in their highest, like, instead of going, why are they coming to do this thing to me, it was like, oh, I would welcome them. And it was like we got talking, and they stood and talked, and I shared with them for like 20 minutes, and they left with lemons, and they were like, it was just so different. That they were saying, oh, isn't it terrible what's happening in the world? Are you not scared of what's, bringing the fear and about God and stuff? And I was like, oh no, I don't fear that. And they were asking me about my beliefs and getting interested in, wow, you're unusual. Oh, wow, you have got a really good way of seeing the world. And I'm like, yeah, do you want to join my gang? So I really and I walked away from that kind of going, and another day I might not want to stop and talk with them for 20 minutes, but I can just say quite truthfully and kindly, oh hey, thanks for coming to see me, but I've got things to do today. But in that moment I did have time, and it was beautiful. I think we all gained something from it, and I didn't feel like they preached at me, and yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Mm, love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
and also the ripple effect of that, you know, of having these conversations and being an invitation and you don't know how far that will go and who it will touch. And it could be he could go back and share that with his friends, or it could touch someone in India or Africa or whatever, you just don't know. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yeah. So we're going to go into a meditation. It's not going to be very long, and I'm just going to invite you. I'll just quickly run through it. So we're going to meet a person. It can be more if you want to. Just feel who truly is best for you, and as far as that difficult conversation or deepening the connection and a meaningful relationship with. And yeah, I feel it's good to have one, but you could have more if you want to. It's totally up to you. And we're just going to honor ourselves. We're going to say a few things about ourselves with making sure we have no attachment to how they receive it. So we're going to visualize them in front of us, and we're just going to express who we truly are with no attachment how they respond to that. And then we're going to meet them. So whether you walk towards them, they walk towards you, you both walk towards each other, and you're going to give them a hug and thank them for being your mum, your brother, your sister, uncle, whatever, partner, whatever it is, for being that in this life, and that you love them. And you'll embrace for a little while, and then we'll just carry on walking. So you walk through each other, and you keep only what is yours and for your highest good. And then we'll come back. So I'm just going to stop that. Okay. So I just invite you all to gently close your eyes, come into your heart space, Really coming into the body in the present moment. And then that special person or people you wish to connect with, you see them in front of you. You're meeting them soul to soul, heart to heart. You're sharing with them, I am an infinite being of light, of pure love and light, and so are you. And you walk towards each other and embrace and a beautiful hug. And you thank them for being your mother, father, so on, in this life. You're grateful for them to be with you in this life. I love you. And you continue to walk, bringing with you only that which is yours and for your eyes. And as you're ready, just slowly come back. Open your eyes when you feel ready. And slowly coming back to the body at this present moment. You can do this again in your own time if you wish, and you can, extend and add things to it, make it for longer and whatever you wish. I did the first part. My friend guided me through it. I did it with my mum and dad and siblings. And when I first did it, my sister, the closest to me, didn't show up, so I had to wait a little while, and then she did. And yeah, I said quite a few more things. It was just about that part. Um, And then I think within 2 weeks, I was talking to mum and dad on the phone. And my father, for the first time in my life, told me he loved me. And not only did he say those words, um, he gave space for me to receive them and for me to return that. And he received that, and it was beautiful. Um, so yeah, this is the energetics we can work with, and I feel, in the physical, it's more potent when we can do these things in the physical, but of course, doing something like this is very potent as well. So that's the show today. Trying to come to a completion. Any questions, insights, offerings, most welcome to.
I just want to say thank you, Jacob. That was like beautiful and actually brought me to tears. So I don't have my mom and dad anymore in this lifetime. They passed away a long time ago. And my main challenging relationships are with my children. They're my biggest teachers. And just before I came into this space, I had an argument with them. So I went outside and was lying on the grass and thought how I'm gonna take the next step. And then I called it a family meeting. And I do a couple of the things that you were talking about, but it's given me so many more tools to use, how to speak from my heart and put the intention in. And yeah, thank you so much. And it was just in the meditation, I just hugged them, and the tears were just rolling down. And I can't remember, like in my past lives, how our relations have been. I remember certain things, but not with them yet. And I feel that's gonna come and that's gonna help me as well in this lifetime. So I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Beautiful. You're welcome. Okay. What I also like to offer is an invitation if people want to. I can create an accountability group, so like on Messenger, where people can come on and just share how things are going, anything they notice, differences in communication, relationships, and we can inspire each other and journey together. If people feel called to, that's something that we can do. Um, so I guess if you feel to, you could type a one in the chat, and if you're, let's say, curious, so maybe it sounds good. I'm not sure if will turn up, or life's busy, da da da, these kind of things. Um, put a two, and then I just get an idea whether to create that. Because I've got everyone's emails, and I'll send the replay to your emails, and I'll let you know about the response about whether we'll create this or not. And yeah, we can go a lot deeper on all these things. And I could even speak into one of the topics for a Zoom call, one or two of them, if people feel they want to do that as well. That's a possibility. And yeah, also I'm looking at setting up a program that it can work one-to-one with around this kind of thing. I've also got things I'm probably going to do another call around trust. I've got a big journey with trust, and I feel I can share quite a bit in talking to that. So yeah, I'm really grateful for everyone that came and joined today. It's really beautiful. And you know, we fitted it in that kind of time slot that we thought. I also, yeah, core coaching. So the word core really speaks to me, and I think a lot of you would know why that word does. You know, it's such a potent word. I just think, and it covers so many areas. You know, because it goes into the core beliefs, core wounds, core habits, core emotions, and then it also speaks into our core principles, core essence, core truth, core values, core relationships, core message. And I also find and play with the words. So, you know, like the word could stand for consciously observing relationship energetics, consciously orientating real evolution. You know, these are just some of the things that came up for me that I feel can fit into a lot of areas that resonate with me. And yeah, there's more exploring. And I also the other day, yesterday, I was showing that I can turn the word around and have the word coaching at the end of it and just yeah, create something with that. So then it's like a full circle as well, coming back on itself, which felt quite cool as well. Um, but yeah, this is just me showing up and doing what I can, and it feeds me. So I'm really grateful for all of you being here and those who will listen to the replay as well. So yeah, much love to everyone. Thank you.